Auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Dear brothers and sisters, assalamu alaikum. My name is Shoaib Khan and welcome to Maxafter.com's another exciting tutorial. Well, this is what we'll be doing in this tutorial. Well, as you can see in this tutorial, the actor lands on this car, which is a still image or a picture. Right, so are you guys ready? Let's start the tutorial. But before that, I'll give you a brief overview about this project. Let's first go to Photoshop and I'll show you what I've done there. This is what I've done in Photoshop. For example, if I shut the layers, you'll notice that the background is separate, and then there's the car, and then car accidented or dented. You know, when the actor falls, this is what will happen. And then there's a bumper that falls down, and then there's shadows. And these are the layers I've created in Photoshop. Well, what we do is we import this Photoshop PSD file in After Effects and work from there. So let's go back to After Effects. Let me just first organize this. Press Enter. 01 final Khan. That's my file. Okay, first thing first, let's first import that Photoshop file that I've just shown you. Go to File, Import File. So this is the Photoshop file. Just select it, and here just change this to Composition Cropped Layers and press Open. Here what we do is just click Merge Layer Styles into Photoshop, and from here we'll select Composition Crop Layers, because there are other options as well, but we'll use Composition Crop Layers. It just crops the elements according to its size. And don't use Editable Layer because we don't have any styles applied in Photoshop, but if you have other styles like bevel or shadows, etc., then you click this one. But in this case, we'll just click this one and leave this one as it is. So okay, and press OK. Now we've got our Photoshop composition automatically created here in After Effects, and with the layers, which are these layers. So let's name this, press Enter or Return, and 02 Final Tuts. To avoid confusion, we have to name them. Cool, so let's just double click here. Okay, the first thing that we're going to do is just create the windscreen and the windows, right? Okay, for that you go to Layer, New, Solid, and just right here, Windscreen, and press OK, and just shut down the layer for a second so that we can see, you know, what we're doing. So we go to Mask tool here, and very quickly, you know, I'll create a mask around here. So you can create that, you know, with your time. Right, so we have created a quick mask for the windscreen, and just let's turn it on. So this is our quick mask. Now let's apply an effect to it, because we want this glass to be, you know, it should look dirty, because this car looks old, you know, and deserted. So we need to give that the windscreen the same look as well. For that, we'll go to Fractal Noise. You can type it either here, and you can access it from here as well. Just delete this layer, it's accidental. So click on this layer and go to Effect, and from here just Noise and Fractal Noise, right? So don't need to do much here. Fractal Noise is applied. You can also access Fractal Noise from here, so you can write Noise, and the Fractal Noise just drag and drop on top of it. So if you don't see this, go to Windows and just turn on Effects and Presets, you know, because this is quite handy, you know, quicker access to the effects. Right, so press T, and here just we change this to probably 85 or something, you know. So this is glass. Again, go to Effects and Presets. Now we want to shatter this glass. For that, we'll go to Shatter. Just type Shatter and drop on top of it. And we go to Shatter here and change this view to wireframe to rendered. Shatter is already applied, but the chunks are too big. So for that, we go to Shape and change it to Glass. And here, the repetitions, change it to 200. No. Be careful, this takes up a lot of RAM. Okay, so extrusion, change extrusion to 0.1, because the windscreen is not that thick, you know, so the extrusion should be like 0.1 or less than that. So go to Force and the position, click here and bring that position in the center of the glass here, center of the screen here. The shatter is from the middle of the screen. Right, let's turn down and make it half. Let's very quickly see a preview. So as you can see, the shatter. What we do is this glass is falling down, the gravity is a bit too much. So let's go down to physics and change the gravity to 2, Right. So these are the basic settings for this. You can play around with these settings. Let's first change this to the repetitions to 50, because it's taking up too much of RAM. We've created our first screen, so let's go and create another one. Control D, and solo this layer and the background, and let's keep the other one car dented as well. Let's turn it on. So we got basically now the windscreen. Hit enter or return and name this window 1. The same thing for this window here, right? Press M on your keyboard, select it and press M and just delete this, right? And let's just turn off the shatter effects and unsolo it, and very quickly do the same thing I did earlier, and again unsolo it, again turn it on. You see the glass, and now what we do is press E on your keyboard. Shatter is not turned on because I don't want to turn it on because it takes a lot of RAM. So open up from here. You don't have to do much here, just go to force and click the position and bring it here in the middle. So now the shatter should be from the middle, right? It's not showing up because you haven't turned it on, right? So same thing we'll do for the rest of the 2 windows, and I'm sure you can do that very easily. So again, Control D and window 2, and let's just turn the other one off. Press M on your keyboard and delete. Again, turn it off because we want to create another mask. Right, so go to mask again and very quickly create a mask. So we aren't doing much here, we just doing the same step for this window. Again, press E and go to shatter, double click shatter. You need to double click it so it is activated. So go to force 1, since we've been using force 1, go to position and click here and bring this here cursor in the middle so that the shatter is from the middle. If you press it, you can see the icon there in the middle, right? And same way, Control D, or you can also duplicate from here, edit, duplicate. So this is the window 3 now. We're going towards the window 3, doing the same step again and again, right? So there's nothing new. I hope you guys are following. We are just repeating the steps that we did for window 1. That's it, nothing new, So if you understood what we did in Windows 1, it shouldn't be a problem, So press M again. We delete this mask because we don't need this mask, and here let's create another mask very quickly. Your own mask, I'm doing a rough job here, right. So if you turn this on, you can see the windows there. Just select all of them and shut the layers so that you don't see them. Right, so this is the first step done, which is for shatter. Okay, just forgot to create the headlights, so for that we'll just select Windows 3. We'll do the same thing, Control D, or edit, duplicate. Okay, enter and just write headlight 1 and press M on your keyboard and delete the mask, and come here. So you can see that the mask is there. As you can see, the effects are applied there, and we create a mask around here. Again, I'll create a quick one. Okay, let's turn it on, and the same thing that we did earlier. Go to force 1 and select the position and bring it here in the center. Right, Control D or edit duplicate this one as well as headlight 2, and let's just press M and delete this mask again and close the layer. Very quickly create another mask. Select the layer and go to pen tool and then just do the same thing. Press E on your keyboard, go to shatter, do the same thing, force, just select the position and bring it here in the middle. Right, and press T and make these ones around 90 because the headlights are a bit thicker, and so the opacity has to be a little bit more than the other windows. Right, so turn it off. Save your work as well. Okay, let's bring our actor, which is the footage, car crash footage. It's a very raw footage, you know. So what we do here is bring it here and press S on your keyboard and make it smaller, you know, and make this one probably 25 or something, you know, and bring it here somewhere. So let's say how it goes. So it hits the ground here somewhere, so you need to bring it up, you know, there. So this is the point of contact. So press P here. Actually, let's just trim the composition to, let's say, 4 seconds. Right click, trim comp to work area. And so from here, let's press shift and move the actor up so that we don't see it, you know, initially. And this press F9 or right click, keyframe assistance and easy ease. Just F9. Right, so let's just see how it looks. Right, so it lands here. So the car, you know, go to car dented. So this is the car without dent, so it's on the top. So when it reaches here, at the point of contact, let's just split the layer here. Go to edit, split layer, and delete this one. Now you see how it looks. So on at the point of impact, you know, the car has this dent. Okay, let's turn on one of the windscreens as well, you know, and turn on the actor as well, and let's move this forward here, you know, at the point of contact, and scrub it, you know, backwards. Now if you render, let's see how it looks. Right, do the same with the rest as well. Bring it here and do it like this. So just to give you an example, and press E, go to shatter. Let's say the shatter, you know, in the end what we do, we just increase it to 200 or something. Now, you know, if you render and see, you'll notice how it looks. So at the point of impact, you can see, you know, how the glass is shattered. Right. So let's just turn this off, you know, for a second, and create the other stuff as well. Okay. Right. So let's go and take the bumper now. Turn on the 3D layer for it. If it's not showing, you know, toggle switches, you'll see it. And press P. And so at the point of impact, let's put a position keyframe, and let's go like 2 frames forward, 1, 2, and it falls down, like just like bring it down a little bit, you know, as if it's on the ground, and go forward 2 frames again, 1, 2, and just with your arrow keys, you know, on the keyboard upwards, move it up 1, 2 or 3 frames, that's it, 3 times, and then move it forward again, and then bring it to normal position, 1, 2, 3, right, and change this one to right click keyframe assistance, and if you can't see it, it's easy ease. And let's render and see how it looks. So as you can see, that looks like it's like falling down. Also, press R on your keyboard, you know, for Z rotation, press U and move it forward, and let's say when it falls down it becomes like this, it turns and twists a little bit, comes here, do it like this, and then comes here, like do it like 2 or something, you know, and change this one to right click keyframe assistance, easy ease. And now if you render it, so it looks like, you know, the bumper fell down as well, you know, with the impact. You can also move these frames forward. Now turn on the motion blur for this layer from here as well, so it's got a little bit of motion as well, as you can see. You can tweak around with these, you know, to get better settings, or my file is there as well, or go to my composition and see how I did this, because you need to spend some time on this, you know, to get it perfectly right. Right, okay, so we'll do the same step with the car as well. If you press U on your keyboard for the bumper, you need to, you know, move our car as well on the same positions. You need to wiggle our car as well a little bit, so because of the impact. So press P on your keyboard and make it 3D, and let's say if you put position key and move forward 2 frames, and just move it a little bit, you know, with your arrow key. If you do it with your arrow key on your keyboard, it's more you know, precise, like 1, 2, probably 2 times, and then move forward 2 frames, and then bring it up 1, 2, 3, and then move forward, and then bring it back to the normal position. For that you can control copy and control V, so it comes back to the normal position. So click this one and right click and keyframe assistant, easy ease if you can't see it, or F9 on your keyboard. So let's, you know, rotate the car a little bit as well. Press R on your keyboard, put a keyframe for Z rotation, move forward again, press U so that it reveals the other keys as well, and then you can accordingly put keyframes. Right, and let's say 1, and then move forward again, -1, and move forward to the last and press 0. Again, right click, keyframe assistant, easy ease. So this is just trial and error, you know, you just play around with these keyframes, and also turn on the motion blur, so as you can see that car moves a little bit. So while this is happening, you can see the other car in the background as well, you know. So let's chop it off from here. It's better now. Right. Okay, let's move on to the next step, which is a particular trapcode, which is third-party plugin, very popular and very effective. You can do lots of stuff with particular. You can also watch my other tutorials as well, where I've used particular, you know. So it's a very strong tool. You can also do it with CC Particle World as well, you know, but it's not that strong. But you can't get that much detail with CC Particular, you know. CC Particle. So let's go and start particular. So go to layer, new, solid, and call this particles front, and press OK, and just type here particular. So it's trap code particular, just drag and drop on top of this layer. So let's bring it down near the car, and just solo this so that we can see it easily. Right, so let's go to emitter, and emitter particles per second. Let's turn it down to 1 because we need just one particle, to shoot out from the front of the car, and then also the velocity, we need it to be like 1500 because it shoots out very fast because of the impact. Put a keyframe there as well. Now press select the layer and press U so that it reveals the keyframes. So these are the keyframes for the velocity and particles per second. And then now if you move forward 1 frame only, and then change the velocity to 700, because then after some point we want it to be slow, it shoots up and then slows down, and here the particles become 0. Then we need some resistance as well, otherwise they will shoot out very fast and disappear. So for the resistance we go to physics and turn up the resistance to 2. Right, so now straight away go to auxiliary system. So this is just a main particle, and auxiliary system will be like a tail to this particle, In short, the auxiliary particles, will follow this dot or this particle. Right, so emit continuously, and particles per second, let's say 100, and life per second, let's say 5. Also type, we change it to cloudlet. Right, and size to 35, and velocity to probably 20 or something. It's also trial and error, just play around with the values to get the best results. Okay, size over life. Size over life is, just play around with this. So in the beginning, they are like a bit small, then they grow, and then they die. Opacity is like, let's keep it to 10, and opacity over life is like they die slowly. Also then, okay, color over life, let's change it. So make it like a smoke color. Click here and change this one to a bit of, like a dirt color or something. Right, and change this one. This is fine. Change this one to, a bit gray. Right, now let's see how it looks. So as you can see, the small particle, the first initial particle is showing up. We don't want to see that, so we go back and change the particle size to 0 so that you don't see that. Okay, now we come back and go to world transform, and let's adjust it, towards. Also, let's turn on the car, so that we want to position it under the car, car dented. So right now it's here somewhere. So you want it to shoot out from the front of the car. Press particular again. So offset value, let's keep it here. So it's just, play around with it. You can get your results. Right, and put it under the car. So as you can see, they shoot out, but they have to shoot out only during, when the actor lands on the roof of the car. Press U, and just let's say move it forward here somewhere. Right, and we move up again, and let's change the velocity let's change the velocity, play around with the velocity. As you can see, right, so this is, the first particle that we created. Now, at the same time, the particles have to be on top of the car as well. We need to duplicate this one. So, edit, duplicate, and put it on top of the car dented, so that a bit of smoke is on top of this as well. Press T, and opacity first is like 0, and by the time it reaches here somewhere, it starts to grow and come in the front as well. Right. So you can play around with this, and also let's duplicate this one and press enter on your keyboard and right side. So there's something coming out from the side, and turn off the other ones. Don't want to see them now. Okay, press E and double click particular, come down to transform and just turn it like this side, so as if it's coming out from the side as well. Right, and randomness, let's change this to probably 50, size to 69, opacity as well, do the same for the other one as well. So the more that you work with particular, it gets better and better, but the only thing is you need to spend some time with it. So I'm just showing you, how to use it. And if you unsolo this, you can see. So for the side one, you can add another one, Control D, and this one, for this one you can go to resistance, let's make it 1, sorry, let's make it like 3, so right, and you can also change the color for this as well a little bit. Make it a bit white. So this one, change it for the other one as well. Just randomly change the color, so you don't want them, all of them, to look similar. Let's make it dark. Right, and let's Control D or edit, duplicate this one. Side, or you can write side other. This is the other side. Press E on your keyboard and again go back to transform, world transform. So this is particles done. Now let's move on towards the next step, which is we use a bit of CC particular as well. Go to layer, new solid, and CC particle. Press OK and just write here CC particle world. Right, and okay, we need some debris coming out from under the car, so for that go to grid and off the grid, you don't need it, and let's bring it down near the car as well. Put it above the car so that we can see what's happening. Just solo these two layers and go to options, and here go to rendering, here go to ice and force motion blur. So then that way it stays on the ground. And if you go to physics, producer, so position, let's just keep it near under the floor. So keep it on the floor, So, and position, let's move it back, which should be like under the car, there, and put it under the car. We change the particle type. Okay, change the color as well to black, and also change this to fade its fair. Word size, just increase it size variation increase, maximum opacity just decrease it, you know. Okay, velocity, let's say if it's 2. So birth rate, let's put a birth rate here, you know. So 2, and move it forward and make it 0, so they die afterwards, you know. Let's increase the size a bit, burst size, you know. It's like a burst. Let's make it dark color. Right, control this D this one again, or add a duplicate, and change the particles to, you know, let's say tri-poly or something, and then decrease the size, burst size. So this is like debris, you know, and just give it a bit of variation, you know. Change the velocity to probably 1.5 or something. Color to a bit of green, you know, because our background, you know, has got a lot of green in it. Okay, change the color. Let's turn off the particles because we want to see our newly created CC particle, you know, how they to this one to be, you know. Yep. And also let's select the other one and change the color to, let's say, white. Right, Control D, or to add a duplicate, and CC particle roof, press E, double click here, go to producer and just move it up the position. And this time it'll be on top of the car, you know, so that you can see. We can't see it properly, so just particles, change the color as well. Let's turn on the car and let's turn up the opacity so that we can see what's happening. Z position, move it back, you know. So it's basically some, you know, debris, you know, flying out from the roof of the car as well. Particle type, just change it here or something. Quad poly, change the size to, you know, a bit small. Press U and bring it back to the initial position and make it like 4, you know. Move up and change the position of the floor. The position of the floor is here. Move it back a little bit. So there's nothing complicated here. It's just, you know, I'm using the particles again and again, you know, to fill up the, so make these particles smaller. I'm applying 3 or something. Good. Bring it near the feet of the actor. Right. And also CC particle, Control D this one, and bring it on the roof. Let me just delete these, you know, I was a bit experimenting before, so And the other thing is I just applied a color grading. For that, we go back to Final Con, and just this is the one color blue tone. We just Control C this one, and to save time we just Control V. So there's nothing fancy, it's just a few colors applied. I showed to you, just applied levels, and we change a bit of settings here, and then color balance, and then curves, and finally hue saturation. I've covered this in my car light tutorial as well. Right, so it's about time to turn on the windscreen and all that. Right, let's go to windscreen and shutter, increase the 200. Okay, let's go to Windows and increase the repetition to 150. Go to Windows 2, increase the repetition to shape. Go to shape and repetition to 150. Again, go to Windows and change the repetition to 120, just random repetition, and then go to headlights and change the repetition of headlights to 100 or something, and also headlight 2, shape, and 100 or 70. I didn't increase it in the beginning because I told you it takes a lot of RAM, so let's just, so our actor is a bit dark, so what we need to do is we just move the actor above the blue tone, and then apply a bit of curves to it. So for that, let's, and red, just pull it down. Green, just a touch up, and a bit of blue as well, so it matches our background. Right, so one thing I've noticed, the windscreen, select all of these, press T, and change the opacity to 65 or something, so that we can see through the glass as well. And the other thing I did was layer new solid, and just apply a fractal noise to it. Right, and let's create a fog. Go to screen and transform size, and apply linear white to it. And feather it, so it looks a bit foggy. Press T and remove the linear wipe for this one, and press T on your keyboard, and for evolution, let's animate it. Press Alt on your keyboard and click here, and times, let's say 100. So it's animating as well. You can do this to the other one as well. Right, so let's check out a preview. Right, I wish I could spend some more time to make it more realistic. This thing actually requires time so that you can play around with the values and get the best results, like I've done in my comp. So it's more realistic because I spent more time on it. Since playing around with the particles, can take a lot of time. So since we don't have that much time for this tutorial, but basically the basic idea was to show you guys how to set up the particles, in a scene like this, to get some realistic effects. So I hope you guys understood this tutorial and enjoyed it as well. So once again, my name is Shoaib Khan from Maxafter.com. Assalamu alaikum, and peace be on all of you.